welcome to my podcast, Mindset, Money, Success, and I'm your host, Loraine Marshall. And today I have a couple of topics that I am going to talk about. The first one is about how you can tell who is the real victim after a narcissistic relationship. And the second one is about financial abuse in intimate relationships. So the first one is the article title, Will the Real Victim Please Stand Up? How can you tell, and how can professionals tell, who is the real victim after a relationship with a narcissist ends? So let me start by giving a quote from Dr. Loraine, who has a YouTube channel and has done many episodes and lots of podcasts. Now this quote is where she is talking to another podcaster, and she says, "I believe all domestic abusers are narcissistic without exception. The capacity to tell someone, I love you, I'm going to care for you, we're in a relationship, then emotionally, physically or sexually assault them. That's zero empathy and tremendous entitlement. That's incredible arrogance and narcissism." And that was taken from a short video that I found on YouTube. In my own experience, narcissists are master manipulators. They lie, cheat, and give false narratives. They will rewrite history, project blame, gaslight their victims. Often, the abuse does not stop when the relationship ends. It doesn't matter if the narcissist discards their victim or if the survivor learns the truth and makes an escape from the toxic behaviour. Survivors of any form of domestic abuse, including emotional and psychological abuse or coercive controlling behaviours, will be left mourning the loss of the relationship. A survivor will be grieving. They will be more isolated from the family and friends that they shared with the narcissist. Survivors will appear angry at what happened to them. They will blame themselves because all through the relationship, the narcissist blamed them for anything and everything. Survivors who make allegations against the narcissist are not believed. A narcissist is charming, caring, a generous man, an attentive father. The survivor is seen as the woman scorned. She is just spiteful and seeking revenge because he cheated and moved on to a new life. The behaviour of the survivor may also influence the community and professionals that are involved, as they appear emotionally dysregulated, angry, sad, depressed, even to the point that they have no will to live. False victim versus true victim. The true victim will be suffering anxiety, insomnia, post-traumatic stress. They will be in fight, flight, or freeze mode. Often, a true victim will have lost all sense of self. True victims will go through the grieving process, shock, denial, anger, and moving through to acceptance. There may be periods of deep sadness, uncontrolled crying, panic attacks, and also verbal anger when they try to express the situation they have experienced. True victims are re-traumatized by the professionals who are meant to support them. False victims, narcissists, will be calm. They will be able to communicate the issues that they perceive as them being wronged. They will appear smooth, cool and detached. A narcissistic false victim will have moved on with their lives. They will declare a new relationship immediately or within weeks of separating. They will not show any respect, empathy or compassion. There will be a complete lack of understanding towards the true victim. Narcissists will display an attitude of wanting to win at all costs. Asking the victim what happened. Ask a true victim what happened. They will be foggy, forgetful, inarticulate, show confusion. Their words and thoughts are all over the place, chaotic, disjointed. You can even see them stop and question the absurdity and validity of their own story. In my experience, I knew there had been abuse. I did not comprehend how much abuse I had suffered. I knew I had made excuses. I knew I had brushed bad behaviour under the carpet. The realisation and the understanding came as a huge shock. I never wanted to be seen as a victim. Even when I went to the Guardia to file a gender violence complaint on the advice of the lawyer I saw, I had no idea how to explain what I had experienced. I told them it was emotional and psychological abuse. When I later discovered that not wanting to report abuse is a significant issue, I read In Control, Dangerous Relationships and How They End in Murder by Professor Jane Monckton Smith. She recounts the story of a woman who refused to leave the house and get medical attention when it was obvious to the police that there had been domestic violence. Many women are so fearful in the case of emotional and psychological abuse, also trauma bonded, that they do not want to report their ex-spouse or boyfriend as they still have a deep attachment, thinking it is love. I never wanted conflict from the start. It was never my intention to be in the Guardia station to report a crime, domestic abuse or gender violence as it's known in Spain. I never wanted conflict from the start. I hoped that there would have been meaningful discussions, negotiations and a way forward where I could start over and rebuild my life while still living in Spain with some financial security in retirement. Instead, I was given false promises, a dangling carrot, fear and uncertainty, threats and intimidation. When the court heard the gender violence allegations, it was reported as one minor verbal abuse. I did not understand what had been put to the judge. I did not understand how the Spanish justice system worked. 4 months after the first hearing, a second hearing took place, and 3 months later, the verdict from the male judge was case dismissed. So not wanting to be seen as a victim came true. The justice system did not see me as a victim. Ask the false victim what happened. They portray their victim as crazy. They twist the truth, fabricate statements, manipulate professionals. They will use a technique known as DARVO, D-A-R-V-O, deny any abuse, attack the real victim, reverse victim and offender. The false victim will have no difficulty at all in reporting the perceived wrongdoings. Narcissists will report false allegations and hope their victim is taken away to a psychiatric hospital or even arrested by police and later imprisoned. To repeat from Dr. Ramani's quote earlier, zero empathy and tremendous entitlement, plus a lack of morals. There will be incidents where the false victim will take legal action against the true victim in family courts, fighting over property, financial settlements, and children. There are many books on the subject of divorcing a narcissist. Check out some of my recommendations. I will leave a link below this podcast in the show notes. Other cases have involved narcissists claiming defamation when survivors speak out about their experiences. You can read an article in Equality Now, how abusers weaponize defamation lawsuits against survivors. That link will be in the show notes too. Weaponizing defamation lawsuits is considered to be secondary victimization. When survivors speak out, their experiences are a matter of public interest, as in the case of Lee versus Brown, which I followed with interest on Twitter, now X. Life of a false victim versus life of a true victim. The false victim does not share their stories with other survivors. They don't endure traumatic symptoms of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. They don't hang out in support groups. Narcissists have a completely new life. They will have shared images of their new relationship on social media, and they will still have family and friends around them. The narcissist will not be protesting that they are victimized or that they have suffered any form of injustice. On the other hand, the true victim of a narcissistic domestic abuse will not be thinking of jumping into a new relationship. They are looking to heal from the trauma. They have no interest in dating anyone new. They would likely want to seek counselling or therapy, which is highly recommended. In my experience, real victims are shocked, hurt, living in fear, broken by the abuse, mostly unsupported, emotionally and financially devastated. The stronger and more courageous victim survivors will speak out, want to raise awareness, and even try to warn the next victim. This only happens when the victim has recovered some of their lost confidence and self-esteem, which can be a very slow process. True victims isolate themselves. Typically, the true victim survivor of narcissistic abuse isolates themselves and only interact with a few close personal friends and family. Quite often, a person has become isolated within the relationship because of the coercive controlling behaviour of a partner. In my experience, I blamed myself after the relationship ended. There were lots of, if only. Many true victims will be in a position of self-blame. In a relationship, a victim often repeats the words, sorry, to their abuser, partner, every time anger or rage is directed towards them. Why do victims feel responsible for creating the anger? Narcissists are already angry. It is in their personality. If you want to support me and help me in my mission to raise awareness of hidden forms of abuse in intimate relationships, please share my content, consider buying my book, or donate via my website. Thank you. You can download a free chapter, and I will leave that link in the show notes. My book is Post-Separation Abuse, Betrayal and Abandonment, What Type of Man. The author name, Loraine. Find it on Amazon and digital e-book stores. So this is the second part of today's episode, post-separation financial abuse. The Domestic Abuse Act 2021 in the UK. Understanding and combating domestic abuse. The United Kingdom has taken significant stride with the implementation of the Domestic Abuse Act 2021. Most people think of domestic abuse as physical violence. In fact, Section 76 of the Serious Crime Act created the offence of controlling or coercive behaviour in intimate or family relationships in 2015. The new Domestic Abuse Act of 2021 broadens that scope to include various other forms of abuse, including extending the controlling or coercive behaviour offence to cover post-separation abuse, as well as specific reference to economic abuse. Abusive behaviours that were present in the relationship can escalate post-separation. Economic abuse includes behaviour that has a substantial adverse effect on individuals' ability to acquire, use, or maintain money or other property, or to obtain goods or services. In some situations, this form of abuse can make a victim economically dependent on a suspect, which in turn may limit their ability to escape and access safety. This can result in the victim remaining within the domestic abuse situation and may occur or continue even after the victim has separated from a suspect. It can be very difficult for a victim to understand the entirety of the offending. The victims may be unaware that behaviour they are experiencing is in fact abuse. Some perpetrators may actively encourage victims to resign from work or be encouraged to give up their careers under the premise of looking after the victim, increasing financial dependence on the abuser. Then victims have limited financial independence because of previous controlling behaviour, the suspect. A crucial facet in post-separation financial abuse is how the suspect uses controlling behaviours to keep changing the details of financial agreements or settlements. Just as one agreement is made, they add something in or take something out and make it difficult to reach a solution and waste the time and the resources of the victim, who will be paying for legal representation and mediation. This abuse may also impact the victim's ability to engage with a criminal justice process. During the relationship, an abuser may have used money, shaming and blaming and degrading actions related to money and finances that continue even after the formal end of a relationship, threatening their victims that they will cut them off with nothing, inducing fear and uncertainty in a former spouse or partner. Recognising the patterns of control in financial abuse. Withholding financial resources. Threats and intimidation from an ex-partner can leave a victim confused, heartbroken and in grief. A common tactic in post-separation financial abuse is withholding financial resources, and this may include refusing to contribute to child support, denying access to joint accounts, or intentionally delaying the division of shared assets. Survivors are left grappling with financial instability and struggling to rebuild their lives. Employment sabotage. Financial independence is a crucial factor in escaping abusive relationship. Recognizing this, abusers may sabotage victims' employment or employability, creating dependency that traps and ensnares their targets and ensures continued control. Often the victim has no form of independent income at the termination of the relationship. Otherwise, actions like harassment or at the workplace, stalking, or even spreading false information that damages the victim's reputation. Then, accumulating debt in the victim's name. A particularly insidious form of post-separation financial abuse involves accumulating debt in the survivor's name, without their knowledge or consent. This not only cripples their financial stability, but can also lead to legal consequences, adding another layer of distress. And another way is coerced debt, when the abuser asserts their power to obtain the signature of the victim on finance or loan agreements. Manipulating child maintenance. Survivors with children. Child maintenance becomes a critical aspect of post-separation finances. Abusers may manipulate this by refusing to pay or using it as a tool to exert control. Some abusers deliberately use derogatory references to the bank payment going to the ex-spouse or partner. The emotional toll on survivors, who are often balancing the well-being of their children with financial strain, is immense. Financial uncertainty creates an extra fear in the minds of survivors. Legal recourse and protection under the Domestic Abuse Act. Recognition of post-separation financial abuse. Domestic Abuse Act explicitly recognises post-separation financial abuse as a form of domestic abuse. This acknowledgement is a crucial step in providing survivors with a legal framework to address the complex, often hidden aspects of abuse. Obtaining a Domestic Abuse Protection Order, DAPO. Under the Act, survivors can apply for a Domestic Abuse Protection Order. This order can prohibit the abuser from engaging in specific behaviours, including those related to post-separation financial abuse. The breach of a DAPO is a criminal offence, emphasising the seriousness with which the legal system views such abuses. Although alarmingly, some survivors still report that the orders do not go far enough, and some perpetrators regularly breach the orders. Financial remedies in family courts. Family courts now have enhanced powers to address financial consequences of domestic abuse. This includes ordering the transfer of tenancies or ownership of property, varying maintenance orders, or deciding on financial compensation. These remedies aim to provide survivors with the necessary resources to rebuild their lives and start over independently. Breaking the silence, empowering survivors to seek help. The stigma surrounding financial abuse. Financial abuse, particularly in aftermath of separation, often carries a stigma that makes survivors hesitant to come forward. The societal expectation that financial independence is solely an individual's responsibility can further isolate those facing post-separation financial abuse. Encouraging open conversations. Breaking the silence surrounding post-separation financial abuse begins with fostering conversations. Recognising the nuances of financial control and manipulation is crucial for both survivors and those in position to offer support. Supportive services and helplines. There's various organisations and helplines in the UK that are dedicated to supporting survivors of domestic abuse, and these resources offer not only emotional support but practical guidance on navigating the legal and the financial aspects of post-separation abuse. In my own situation, I discovered conflicting legal advice, which didn't really help. Financial empowerment programs. Empowering survivors with financial literacy, independence is a key aspect of combating post-separation financial abuse. Financial empowerment programs can equip survivors with skills and knowledge to regain control over their economic well-being. In conclusion, raising awareness of post-separation financial abuse. Domestic Abuse Act 2021 represents a significant leap forward in recognising and addressing the multifaceted nature of domestic abuse, including post-separation financial abuse. And by acknowledging this insidious ways in which abusers continue to exert power and control through financial means, the legal system in the UK is taking a crucial step towards the more comprehensive and survivor-centred approach. As we move forward, it's important to continue raising awareness post-separation financial abuse and dispelling this stigma associated with it, providing survivors with tools that they need to break free from the cycle of control. Only by fostering a society that understands, supports and empowers survivors can we hope to create a future free from the chains of post-separation financial abuse. Indeed, survivors should be supported to gain financial independence, to feel empowered and to rebuild their lives on their terms, unencumbered by financial shackles of an abusive past. That's all for today. Thank you for listening to my podcast, Mindset, Money, Success. Bye for now.